Alright, this is a continuation of part 1 to the story. This is part 2. So wrapping up the story from part 1 where we left off. So,
Party of common
gonna let
sense.
Trump
We're a
talk
party of
quietly.
common sense. We want strong borders. We don't want men playing in women's sports. We don't want to have transgender for everybody.
I agree with all that. But here, let me wrap up my story before we let President Trump talk. So, and I was like, you're not gonna do that. I'm like, I'm not, yeah, you're damn right I'm not gonna fucking do their program that's telling me to walk in 2 years. So, like I said, I fell a bunch of times, but so how I first started off was holding, and what I would do is, I would try to do it for the entire, so I'd watch a show, and on every commercial, I would try to stand for the entire commercial, or started out with putting as much pressure as I possibly could put on my legs. I mean, don't get me wrong, at first, and I fell a bunch of times. The whole walker fell with me backwards into the bed, but I controlled my fall backwards into the soft bed. So, at first I was barely able to put any pressure on my legs. Then I got to the point of being able to put a little bit more and a little bit more. And then as time went on, every day went on, and this is over the course of about 2 months, I would say, right around that. I got walking to how I currently walk. I did it within 2 months, opposed to their 2 fucking years. So, what did I say? So, then I got to taking a little step forward. Once I was able to put almost all the pressure on my legs, and maybe even let go of the walker for like a quick millisecond, thinking about making a left there, but I should have avoided this light. This light takes forever. Anyway, so then I would then I would let go of the walker for a slight second, and I fell a couple times doing that too. But then I would take a little step forward, a little step backwards, holding on to the walker, and then eventually I got to be able to do it for the entire commercials. And then after I would try to do it for every show, I would try to stand for the entire commercial. And I got to the point of trying to go past the commercial as far as I could go into the show. And sometimes I even went from the whole commercial to the show and then back to the next commercial. And then I started taking little steps backwards and forwards, and then I got up to the point to where I was able to lift the walker and move it forward some, take a couple steps, move the walker back. And of course I fell a bunch of times doing that too. And that's why the motherfucking piece of shit physical therapists were giving me that bullshit of, oh, you'll be walking in 2 years. Yeah, no shit, I'll be walking in 2 years if I do your stupid program. If I did their stupid program, I would have been walking in 2 years. Because they can't push you to the point of where I pushed myself, to where if I fell, I didn't hurt myself one time falling because I fell into the bed behind me, but if I fell, they're afraid of getting sued. So anyways, so then I got to the point of where I would try to go a little bit further away with the walker and then go a little bit further back from the bed, and I got to the point of lifting it. And then I got to the point of where my dad would come home from work, and I would say, hey, let's try making, I want to try to start going to the end of the driveway. So then the next couple days, like I either pushed me to the outside in the wheelchair, or I scooted on my butt outside and he brought the wheelchair out. So at first I was able to make it like barely like a couple steps into the driveway, and I was like, hey, can we at least go around the block? And he would push me around the block. And then I eventually got to making it to the end of the driveway, and we would still go around the block. He would push me around the block because it sucks. I was just sitting inside all day. I couldn't go nowhere. I mean, I could go outside in the backyard, but that's crawling, I'm not really, that's just, So then we got to making it past the driveway and going around the block. If the first several times I only made it like the one house over, then a couple more houses, and then eventually it got to going almost completely around the block. And then once I got to going almost completely around the block, I ended up leaving. I tried doing it without anyone there, without a wheelchair a couple times. I had to get a ride back home. I got stuck like several houses away, and I just couldn't go any further, even with resting for a while. I didn't have the strength in me. So there was a couple times I was like sitting there, I had to flag somebody down driving by. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to teach myself to walk again. I live like right there, like 8 houses down. Can you drive me down there, please? I'm stuck. But then I got shortly after that, within a 2-month span, walking how I walk today. Now let's listen to President
Which we were
Trump.
dealing with a few months ago. Why didn't crooked Joe Biden demand equalization? And that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us, and that
Black
there's a
stripe
very
shirt, by
big,
the way,
beautiful
is
ocean, a separation. This is, we're helping Europe. We're trying to help Europe. On top of this, Zelensky admits that half of the money that we sent them is missing. They don't know where the money is. He said, well, we don't know where half of it is. That's great, wonderful. He refuses to have elections, is low in the real Ukrainian polls. I mean, how can you be high with every city is being demolished? It's hard to be high. Somebody said, oh, no, his polls are good. Give me a break. Every city is being demolished. They look like a demolition site, every single one of them.
I'm sure his dictatorship polls are great.
Really good at was playing Joe Biden like a fiddle. He played him like a fiddle.
Yeah,
That's an expression we use, yes, sir, to say that he's pretty easy, pretty easy. A dictator without elections. Zelensky
Yes,
better move fast, or he's not going to have a country left. Got to move fast, because that war is going in the wrong direction. In the meantime, we're successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia, something I'll admit that only Trump is going to be able to do in the Trump administration. We're going to be able to do it. I think Putin even admitted that. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably wants to, maybe he wants to keep the gravy train going. I don't know what's the problem, but he hasn't been able. He's very upset that he wasn't invited. He could have come if he wanted to, but that he wasn't invited to Saudi Arabia. But he's been working for 3 years. There's never been even meetings or phone calls to stop this war. It's a horrible thing. I figure Russia's lost 900,000 soldiers. I think that Ukraine's lost probably 700,000. And it's a terrible thing. You'll see bodies and body parts all over the field, all over. We see them very accurately through satellites. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered, and millions of people have unnecessarily died. And you can't bring a war to an end if you don't talk to both sides. You got to talk. They haven't been talking for 3 years. So we hope to see a ceasefire soon and to reestablish stability in Europe and the Middle East. Thank you very much. And as I've said before, it's my hope that my greatest legacy will be as a peacemaker and a unifier. That would be a great legacy. So in conclusion, the golden age of America is upon us, and I'm inviting everyone here today and every citizen across our land to take part in the most extraordinary period of peace, prosperity, growth, innovation, wealth creation, and expansion the world has ever seen. We're on our way. I mean, everyone's talking about us. 3 weeks. We're in there for a couple of days, more than 3 weeks.
Oh, Trump's had his first 100 days, too, by the way.
Everyone's talking about it. You have to see the crowds of people outside.
And he's done a lot of
pretty
good,
amazing
great
what's
things with
happening.
making
We're on the
America
verge
great again.
of soaring markets, surging incomes, booming production,
This used to be a bank right
groundbreaking
here.
technologies, thrilling discoveries, and a quantum leap in the quality of life. Absolutely a quantum leap. One day, very soon, our country will have the greatest economy in the history of the world, because we once again have a president who puts America first, and we put America first, and your country should put your country.
4 decades ago, a mysterious inventor cracked the energy code, a breakthrough that could have changed the world forever. His discovery was based on classified blueprints from one of history's greatest minds, Nikola Tesla. But before he could share it with the public, he vanished. That man was Arthur Matthews, Tesla's final apprentice and rumored illegitimate
This is a
son.
commercial,
Working
by the
side
way.
by side with Tesla for
just
years,
curious
Matthews
to what
uncovered
this
a way
commercial's about.
to generate unlimited power from an overlooked force. A discovery so powerful,
wanna hear
it was
the type of
buried for
bullshit that
decades.
they're trying
Tap
to
the
sell.
button below now to discover how this forgotten invention
Yeah, sure.
Bigger than
Take your
ever
money.
before. We're going to be a peacemaker and a peacekeeper. We're going to stop people from these stupid, never-ending wars. We're not going to partake in them ourselves,
Hell
but
yeah.
we'll be stronger and more powerful than anybody by far. And if it ever came to war, there is nobody that will be able to come close to us, but we don't think that's going to ever happen. So I want to thank you all very much. It's a great honor to be here. And I think somebody said they're going to ask questions. And I didn't say, gee, what are the questions like Biden does? I say, just ask. It doesn't matter. You ask a question and I give an answer. So I think, Richard, you're going to come up and you're going to give me some questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Please, a round of applause for the President of the United States of America. Thank you.
The best president ever, President Trump. Right next to George Washington.
Mr. President, thank you for accepting to take a few questions. 20 years ago, I don't know if you will remember, we were under the same roof in Orlando and you were delivering an amazing speech in front of 3,000 sales reps, giving them the best advice to be successful. So what is the best piece of advice that you have ever received?
Well, I think it was watching my father. You know, my father was a very hard worker, and he just worked hard. And he was very smart. He had good genetics. His brother was the longest-serving professor in the history of MIT, Dr. John Trump. And my father was every bit as smart, but my father had to work. He was older, and he put his brother through school. In fact, he once said, boy, I put him through so much school. He had 3 different degrees, and they asked him to stay on at MIT, but my father was the same ilk. And I noticed that my father was a happy man. And what he did is he worked. He just worked all the time. He worked. And he loved it. And really, I think the best piece of advice I got from that is you have to love what you do. And if you love what you do, you're going to have a happy life. If you don't, I mean, I see so many people, they're in businesses that they don't want to be in. They're in businesses that, you know, they're bored in or they're not good at. They don't have a natural ability at it. There is such a thing as natural ability, whether it's sports or acting or anything else. I mean, some people have an ability for something. Try and find that ability, but you have to love what you do. If you love what you do, you're going to be, at least you have a good chance of being successful.
Mr. President, it's almost time for an early dinner. So if you are throwing a dinner party and you can invite 3 fascinating guests, living or dead,
I hope you would invite
who would you
me.
bring?
Well, they're all sitting right in the front row. Yes, sir. Are you ready? Mohammed, are you ready? Steve Witkoff, and we have the most
What about
important
George
person,
Washington? I'd bring
at
George
least until the
Washington.
World Cup is over, is here. Johnny, stand up. He gave the United States the World Cup. Johnny, thank you very much. I didn't know
Oh,
you were
that's
here.
cool. We
That's
got
very
the
good.
World
He's
Cup coming to
the
the
king of
US.
soccer. That's not
cool.
bad. And you've done a fantastic job. You know, but it's very interesting. When I was president, I got the World Cup, and I got all of the, you know, we have the 250 anniversary, so that fell in this administration. That's a big deal, 250 years. But we have all of these things happening, and I also got the Olympics, and I was called by the mayor of Los Angeles, sir, would you call up the Olympic Committee, because it was at that time President Obama will not take their phone call, and we're going to get the Olympics in Los Angeles. And by the way, they've recommitted to Los Angeles at a level that, you know, I was very worried about that. And they've the opposite. You know, somebody could have said, well, we're going to do it someplace else, until they have actually recommitted. They're going to make it bigger and better than ever. So I want to let you know that. But I had the Olympics. So I got the Olympics, I got the World Cup, and I said, and the 250, but that one I didn't get. But it was there. It was in this term. And I ran an election, and we did fantastic in 2016. We did much better. Millions and millions, tens of millions, but millions and millions of votes better. And bad things happened, and I didn't get that one. And I said, you know, when I originally signed the Olympics, I said, I won't be able to even be president. And I got the Olympics, because if I didn't, when I spoke with the people, the organizing committee and the people in different parts of the world, they asked me to do it because the president wouldn't do it. I was president-elect, and I gave them a talk. I couldn't get them off the phone. They were starving for love. And the bottom line, they gave us the Olympics. And I said, you know, isn't it sad? I won't be president. Then we had the election result, and now I'm president for the Olympics and for the World Cup. So I'm very happy about that, Johnny. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll be there. I promise I'll be there.
And by the way, Mr. President, backstage you have a gift from Gianni. He gave us the first ball with your name, which will be played for the World Cup
That's great.
in America.
It's going to be great. Thank you, Johnny, very much.
I doubt that any day you will take a sabbatical year, but if you could take a sabbatical year, Mr. President, what unconventional thing would you do?
What was the word?
Sabbatical. You don't work for 1 year.
But you said Sabbath. It's a big difference. It's almost the opposite when you think about it, right?
Fix that shit.
I think what I do is, look, what I'm doing now is the most exciting job in the world. It's a hard job, not an easy job. It's a nasty job. It could be a lot easier with, I think that the news media has to straighten themselves out because people are getting it. They're losing tremendous popularity and they've lost their prestige and they've lost their
Yeah,
credibility.
because they suck.
And I think it's a very important thing, the news media, but I think they have to straighten themselves out because the people are going around them now. They have so many different
Right.
things with like
'Cause they-
Elon with
they
X,
only
which is
tell you what they
a
want you
big
to
thing,
hear,
and we
fake
have
news.
Truth,
They
which
don't
has
tell you
been
the truth.
fantastic, and we have so many other things that you don't really need traditional. But I will tell you that there is
And
just
arthritis
nothing I
at the
could
end of
do
the
to
video, by
enjoy
the
my
way.
life.
Oh, just to cut him off real quick. At the end of the video, so like how it, how your body's got its own natural painkillers. I think it's called endorphins. Like I could feel right before they're about to hit too. Like that's why I parked. But fucking yesterday, right at the end of this video, like I felt it because like the humidity, it dropped from fucking like damn near 80 degrees or fucking 79. It dropped from 79 to 56. It was raining. It was humid, and like your body's got its own natural painkiller. I believe they're called endorphins, I think. I don't recall if that's the exact name for them or not. But, like, what happens is, like, I could feel the pain increase. And, like, it's like right when the barometric pressure or whatever that shit is about to change. And fucking like, you know how a person's like, when they hurt themselves real bad, their body goes into, like, shock, kind of? It's something similar to like kind of going into shock, because like how I know it's about to hit is like the pain level increases a lot, like a real lot, and then like it goes then right before I'm assuming my body going into shock is what you would call it. Right before my body goes into shock, it shuts me down, like. And the pain just becomes so much, and it's kind of like a person when they injure themselves real bad and their body goes into shock. It's similar to that. Right here, let's President Trump finish.
I'm going to be having lunch with some of the Democrats next week, and it would be wonderful if we could work together. I think working together would be great. But they have to change. You can't get elected on the programs
I'll show the
that they
medal in
want.
me. I
and
got pictures of it
that's
on
really
a
what
live one day.
America
All the
wants to
medal
see. So
everywhere.
there's nothing I'd rather do than what I'm doing right now.
When we started this conference, Mr. President, when we started this conference, Yasser and I, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince told us, I want that to be the place where people will come to understand where to invest in terms of geographies and sector. So what is the best investment you have made in your personal growth, Mr. President?
Well, I was involved in real estate for most of my life. Prior to being president, but during the last 4 years, I followed sort of the trends and it's again, it's something that you do. I really believe that some people have instinct. I think I've always had an instinct for making money. I make money, and when
This fucking jagoff gonna park taking up 2 spots. Fucking dickhead.
country, if you're in a certain country, our country is actually getting very bad, a very dangerous place, actually. Bad things were happening. But if you're in a certain country, you have a chance to do well. And no matter how good you are, if you were born into the wrong country, you're not going to make money. Now, you can do other things. You can attain power, I guess. Maybe it's the wrong kind of power, but it's power. But being in the right country, where you have the right incentives and, entrepreneurship, etc., and America has always been sort of at the top or one of the top, but always pretty much at the top. But it was losing that position, and I think losing it rapidly.
Today.
I thought I had that throbbing feeling every once in a while, but it was dangerous in a lot of different ways. But he was so bad that I had no choice but to do it. If I thought he was doing a great job, I wouldn't have run, and I would be very happy. I actually wanted him to do a good job. I was saying, do this, do that. I'm telling them, do things. They should have done what I said. And but I would have been very happy not to have run, and frankly to have seen somebody do a good job. But our country was going to hell,
Yeah,
and
it
I
was.
really sort of had to run.
If you were a historical ruler, would you prefer to rule during war or peace?
Sure. I'm gonna guess he's gonna say during peace. Let's see if I'm
President, my wife Sherry said,
fucking commercial. They all knew we were gonna want to hear that answer. Fucking jag off.
It's still a very small amount relatively to what we built. But I largely rebuilt our military. Now I'm going to have to do it
Yes, Trump
again
did.
because so much has been given away.
Alright. We're here at a secret immigration shelter that's supposed to have a bunch of Nigerians living in it, so maybe we'll be back live. I'll let you know. Or we might just do pre-recorded videos, because I gotta do some more regular
I would tell you, I
uploads.
was dealing with President Putin very successfully on denuclearization. We were talking.
Yes, he was. That's my president. And again, he didn't deport, for all you people freaking out thinking he deported an American citizen, the motherfucker was a citizen of El Salvador. And even if they do fight to have him come back,
Going
he'll
to
be in
talk to
jail
China,
here
and I spoke
or
to
there,
President
so
Xi
it don't
about it
matter.
very successfully. I think
Why do
we
we
were going
wanna
to
pay to house them in
denuclearize it.
jail
We
here?
had to get the smaller nuclear powers, of which there are 4, 3 maybe, but 4 probably, to do something. We would have been able to do that. But I was having very strong talks with President Putin about denuclearization. And, you know, if you're president, you get presentations about what we're building, what we're having, the power of weapons, the power of many things besides weapons per se. When I saw the power of nuclear weapons, and we can never let that happen.
No, we
If
can't.
that happens, the ball game will be, the world will be destroyed.
Over.
The power is so enormous. You look at Hiroshima, you look at Nagasaki, multiply that times 500
Oh
times.
yeah, because the things we got today
And
are way more
the
powerful
world
than
would be
that.
destroyed. So you want somebody as your president, or you want somebody as your leader that about, but we can't let that happen. The power of weaponry today is so enormous that the world would disintegrate.
What Trump's
So
doing
we
is
can't
going to
let it
give us
happen.
more of this.
Mr. President, if you had to describe United States of America in just 3 words, what would they be?
Made in the USA.
In 3 words,
That's what Trump's doing for us. We're going to have a lot more of this made in the
love,
USA. And look at the good
respect,
quality of this hat compared to the
and strength.
Chinese hat. Look
That's
at
a
how
tough
fucking
question. That
falling
might be my
apart and
best
shit.
answer, Yasser.
Look at how
That's-
fucking firm and
That reminds
fucking
me of high
well
school, that
made
one, but
this is
that may have been the
compared to
toughest
this
question,
fucking
actually. Do you think
Chinese
Joe Biden
bullshit.
could have done that? I don't think so. I don't think so.
We're almost at the end, Mr. President, but talking about United States
Alright,
of
like,
America,
subscribe,
what is
share.
one cultural habit
Hit
in the
thumbs up, yo.
US is
Thanks
not,
for watching.
but the rest of the
Like,
world.
subscribe, share, hit thumbs up, yo, and thanks for
I think we
watching.
love our families, but I think
We'll
a
be
lot
back.
of the world loves their families. You know. I was speaking to the head of Mexico because I complain constantly about people pouring